This segment sponsored by Foster Financial. Welcome back to Women's Wealth Wednesday with Foster Financial. This is where we give you holistic financial advice specifically for women. And joining me today is Caleb Doane, their Vice President. Hi, Caleb.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thanks very much.
Okay, so I'm excited about what we're going to talk about today because it's going to go down, what do they say, back to the basics, right?
Yeah.
So kind of explaining what a financial plan is. And so let's just start from the top. What is a financial plan?
Yeah, so I mean, a financial plan, I think a lot of people have maybe elements of a financial plan, but we like to think of having a comprehensive or a holistic financial plan, and there are a lot of different pieces in that. And so over the next few weeks, I kind of wanted to talk about some of the key elements in a financial plan, and it's something that we lay out for every single client that comes into our office. We like to start with a financial plan before we roll over money or anything like that, because we want to make sure we're all aligned on what the strategy is for these funds going forward. We want to make sure we really know you and what your goals are for retirement before we start actively managing your funds.
Right. Okay, so we say holistic, right? We describe your practice and your really the characteristics as holistic planning. What does that mean to be a holistic planner?
Yeah, so it's where we're not just looking at the stocks and bonds, the investment side of things. We certainly look at that, and it's a very, very important piece of a financial plan, but we don't just stop there. We're also looking at your goals and objectives in retirement. We're looking at tax strategizing. We're making sure your insurance picture is aligned. We want to make sure your legal picture is all set up there too, estate planning for kind of future purposes. So we just want to make sure that your financial plan is airtight and it's not just focusing on the investments, but everything else that can impact your finances too.
Okay, I love that. So it's not like one arm. You're not just like
Right.
stocks only, this only. You're the whole body. You cover everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, good. Okay, so let's start off with just the fundamentals. So if we're thinking about a financial plan, what are the basic fundamentals?
Yeah, so one of the things that we start with is what somebody's main objectives or goals are during retirement. And a lot of times that's basically what are the expenses that you're expecting every single year, every 5 years, whatever it might be in retirement. And I think people have kind of a rough idea of this. Even while they're working, they might know approximately what they think they're going to need to spend. But I think people maybe go about it in the wrong way. A lot of times people say, all right, I know that I should be saving 10% or 15% roughly a year for my retirement, and so I'm going to save that, and then whatever nest egg is built up when I retire, hopefully that's enough to live on. And some people can be successful with that, but to get a little bit more kind of clarity and confidence in your financial plan, we like to go about it maybe a different way, where we say, all right, how much do you actually need to spend every year in retirement? What are your basic needs? How much are you planning on traveling? How much are you spending on every vacation? How much do you want to give to your church? How much are you going to support your grandkids and your kids in retirement too? And then we say, okay, if this is how much you need to spend, this is how much we need to save now to get you that lifestyle. So we kind of back into it a different way and solve for a different thing just to make sure that you have enough money.
That's good. It's like being really proactive in the way that you're trying to set yourself up for the future, because, Social Security is only a portion of what people get. And it's like that savings has to go with it. Whatever you have in your pension, whatever you have in your 401k, and in your savings, it all has to work together. So you all kind of look at that whole picture and say, okay, let's set you up for the life that you want.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So do you find that people already have financial plans when they come into your office, or most people are just like, no, but let's do it?
Yeah, I think a lot of times people more so rely on just best practices that they've heard before, where they say, I've heard I'm supposed to save kind of X amount a year, and that tends to be sufficient. But it's relatively rare for somebody to have a comprehensive financial plan, and then it's even more rare for somebody to actually have a written down financial plan. And so that's something we do for all the clients. Not only do we make sure the financial plan has all the elements that it needs, but we actually print it out and we give it to the client. And we say, hey, this is really our roadmap going forward as your financial advisor. And so we have recommendations in that financial plan on, how much we're going to do every year for Roth conversions, how much we're going to be withdrawing to supplement these expenses. Maybe we have, a new home that we're planning on purchasing 5 years down the road. Maybe we're downsizing in retirement, whatever it might be. all of those pieces are in that financial plan. And again, it just creates kind of that confidence for somebody to know, it's not just this nest egg that I'm trying to draw from every year. I actually know it's going to last throughout retirement.
Yeah. And do you handle this on the initial consultation, or is this a little bit deeper into when you start working with the client?
Yeah, on the initial consultation, that's when we start to get some of the information and know what parts of a financial plan are going to apply most to somebody. And then we start doing financial planning calls where we'll call on their 401k, we'll get all the information that we need. And then we'll sit down with them for a couple really in-depth planning sessions where we start to give all the recommendations and really craft that financial plan for them.
Yeah, that sounds like an exciting journey. And the best part is that you all offer free consultations or complimentary consultations, which is great. So it makes people feel more comfortable about coming in and having that talk to see, is this a right fit? And can they help me? So all they need to do is just give you a call, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Caleb.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. And if you would like more information about Foster Financial, we'll have their phone number and a website listed below. Like I said, they offer complimentary consultations, so make your appointment today. And I look forward to seeing you after the break. This segment sponsored by Foster Financial.